I'm creating some new feature for the reproductive clinics and universities nowadays as a clinical senior embryologist, also histopathologist. So please never hesitate me, contact anytime for the questions. So this presentation mostly ethical and pre-implantation stage embryos in the laboratory. It is especially regarding human and moral approaches and keeping conventional medicine. I'm supporting the conventional medicine compared to US medicine. And also, I will add some new regulation about the embryos right. And after Alabama Supreme Court decision, everything is changed. I saw this article in the social media, abortus legislation, and then I received an invitation from the symposium. How can we create some new regulation depending on our idea? You know, there are lots of difference between the conventional medicine and US medicine. In US medicine, there is no any Hippocratic oath and there's no any ethic deontology classes. Also, they have the same role, MD role and associated health helpers degree, and also naturopathic and osteopathic medicine. They are involving all together, and it's so hard to establish some new regulation. So a couple of months ago, Alabama Supreme Court shut down some reproductive medicine clinics, and the second case also happened. So I saw and also I saw different documentation from the case. It says this case, some patient break down and go into the clinics and stolen some private embryos from the other families. And so in the Alabama, luckily they have establishment in their legislation. They are accepting the embryo as a minor child. So a majority holding, they said this family stolen the embryos from the clinic guilty because this embryo is minor child, should be accept minor child. But I saw in the documentation, one judge has this similar opinion. Yes, this embryo is acceptable as a minor child. That's why, because of this reason, this patient will be guilty. But the third justice surprised me because he said, I am the middle of the decision because we have no any regulation right now. So, in the conclusion, they explain why these people and parents guilty because they gave us some theologic reason from the Jeremiah and from the some theological books. It says because the embryo is the face of the God. This is surprising me. As a scientist, it's not acceptable explaining in the regulation or medicine using with the beliefs. So this is our deficit, I think so, because there is no any regulation that we created as a scientific explanation, what is the embryo? So that's why this is new entity. It's not compatible. There are lots of nice explanation in the dictionaries about the embryo, but they are not talking about the laboratory embryos. They are talking about the inside the human embryos. That's why all the beliefs also explanation, they have some explanation and full graduation about the beliefs. So UNESCO, it says the human genome and human rights for years ago, they accepted this is the heritage of the humanity. But in the capital world, there is no any acceptable environment. It is this is the nice explanation and terminology and the definition of the laboratory embryos. That's why there are lots of different hypotheses. This hypothesis, for example, it says this is new chromosome unit. This is third egg. It's not similar with the mother or father. It is totally different chromosome unit. Also, it has its own capacity, like expansion and energy using, and it has its own polarity and orientation. That's why it needs some new moral and theological explanation, because without regulation, we have bad experiences. So we can acceptable in the pediatric world. This is preborn kids. And who has the authority to manipulate these kids? Of course, we need some hierarchy and we need some definition about the full authority clinical embryologist. Alpha consensus couldn't explain who has the authority because different countries has different regulation. For example, in the US, they are using a CLD certification and they are looking for from the candidates holding doctorate degree. Actually, it is false because doctorate degree is not clinical degree. It is academical degree. And we are in the clinics, we cannot use the doctorate degree. That's why we have some good examples from France and from Belgium and from Holland and from the Turkey. Turkey has very good example because most clinical embryologists, they are specialists, embryologist specialists. They are physician actually. And all the other laboratories has their own physician except embryology laboratories. That's why we have to establish some new regulation. For example, they are doing microsurgery. That's why the clinical embryologists need some full authority. That's why I published, this is the first published, it is Turkish, in the Turkish law, looking for what is the legal status. This is the starting point. What is the legal status right now? And then I organized the World Congress as a chair. I invited not only physicians from all over the world, also I invited some lawyers and ethical scientists. And we published the first article in the world. Can we consider embryos solely as a biological material? And it's accepted as a perspective chapter. What is the embryo's right? And we established the society. And thank you for the all collaboration from the Yale University and Quinnipiac University. So I received some invitation from the pediatric verse. So thank you for patient, and I hope soon we will regulate some new regulation about the US regulation. I received an invitation from the US Medical Education Council. I have some preparation. Thank you so much. Do you have any question or contribution to my speak? Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for your detailed and thoughtful presentation. Your work will undoubtedly impact our understanding and appreciating to this topic. Your presentation was not only education but also engaged. Thank you for sharing your experience, expertise with us.